Dear friends, my English journey on social media began not in a classroom, but in the quiet corners of my daily routine, with a phone in my hand and curiosity in my heart. I didn't have expensive courses, native speakers around me, or perfect grammar books. I had Wi-Fi, apps, and a dream. And that was enough to start. At first, I was just watching funny videos, memes, and short clips in English. I didn't understand everything, but I kept watching. I noticed the tone, the expressions, the rhythm. Slowly, my ears adjusted. Words began to make sense. Simple phrases like "what's up" or "no way" became familiar. Repetition did something powerful. It trained my brain without pressure, without fear. When I first started learning English, I was afraid of making mistakes. I was afraid to speak, afraid to write, afraid that people would laugh at me or ignore me. I always felt that my English was not good enough, that I needed to be perfect before I could use the language. This fear stopped me from practicing. I avoided conversations, skipped writing exercises, and only listened to English without speaking it. But one day, something changed. I was scrolling through social media and came across a short video of someone speaking in English. They weren't a native speaker. Their grammar wasn't perfect, but they were confident, smiling, and sharing their thoughts without hesitation. That moment made me think. If they could speak freely, why couldn't I? I decided to use social media not just for entertainment, but for learning. At first, I just watched videos with subtitles. I didn't understand every word, but I started to get used to the sounds and patterns. I followed creators who were teaching English in simple ways. I began to notice phrases, common expressions, and slang that I never saw in textbooks. Slowly, something shifted in my mind. I realized that English didn't have to be perfect. It had to be used. The more I listened, the more confident I became. I started repeating after the videos, copying pronunciation, and even mimicking accents just for fun. It wasn't studying. It was practice. Real, natural, daily practice. Then I tried writing in English in the comments. Simple things at first, like "nice video" or "I agree with you." Each comment felt like a risk. What if I wrote it wrong? What if someone corrected me? But to my surprise, no one laughed. People responded kindly. They liked my comments. Some even encouraged me. That small interaction gave me a little more courage each time. I began writing more. Not just in comments, but in captions for my own posts. Every time I posted in English, I checked my grammar, learned new words, and tried to express my thoughts clearly. I was practicing without even thinking about it as study time, over time. This daily practice changed my attitude. I no longer waited for the perfect sentence before speaking. I stopped worrying about mistakes and focused on using the language. Social media helped me see that communication is more important than perfection. I learned to laugh at my errors, fix them, and move on. That freedom made me grow. It made me enjoy the process. I began to see progress, not just in vocabulary or grammar, but in confidence. I felt more open, more expressive, and more connected to people around the world. The more I engaged, the better I got. I started messaging friends in English, joining live streams, asking questions, and sharing my opinions. I wasn't afraid anymore. I was learning every day through real use, through comments, captions, videos, and voice notes. The fear that had once held me back slowly disappeared. I realized that the only way to get better was to keep trying, keep talking, keep writing. Social media gave me a safe space to do that. It gave me a reason to practice, a place to belong, and a chance to improve without pressure. When I started using social media to improve my English, I didn't think it would have such a big impact. I was just trying to spend time online, like everyone else, watching videos, reading posts, and scrolling through comments. But as I paid more attention, I noticed something interesting. The content I was consuming wasn't just for fun anymore. I was learning new words, phrases, and expressions in a way that didn't feel like studying. Every short video or caption became a lesson. I could see how native speakers used everyday English in natural situations. It was not like reading from a textbook. It was real, alive, and full of emotion. I realized that by engaging with real content and people, I was experiencing English as it was truly spoken and used watching lifestyle vlogs, reaction videos, and comedy skits helped me understand the rhythm and tone of spoken English. I would pause the video, replace certain parts, and try to mimic what I heard. This helped my pronunciation and listening skills. When I watched someone tell a story about their day or give their opinion on something, I learned how to structure sentences. Naturally, I saw how humor, sarcasm, and emotion worked in the language. These things were never taught in my school classes, but through social media, I picked them up little by little. Just by observing, and Listeningy also started following English learners like me, and that made a huge difference. They shared their struggles, tips, and progress. I related to them. I felt inspired. If they could do it, so could I. We were all learning together. Sometimes I would ask questions in the comments. Sometimes I would answer them. This back and forth helped me improve both my reading and writing skills. Even simple replies like "that's true" or "thanks for sharing" gave me practice. It wasn't about long essays or difficult grammar. It was about using English in a way that felt normal and useful. As I spent more time on social media, I began to notice how my vocabulary was growing. I would come across new words or slang, look them up, and try to use them in my own sentences. I kept a small notebook where I wrote these new words and their meanings. Sometimes I even used voice messages to speak with friends I met online. I wasn't worried about my accent or grammar anymore. I was more focused on expressing myself clearly. This freedom helped me grow faster. I stopped being afraid to make mistakes. I started to see English not as a subject, but as a tool for connection. The best part was how personal everything felt. I was choosing what to learn. I was picking the topics I liked: travel, fitness, cooking, tech, or comedy, I was learning English through the things that interested me, that made a big difference. I stayed motivated, curious, and consistent. I didn't need a teacher to tell me what to study. I learned by exploring. And because the content was so relevant to my life, I remembered it better. Real conversations stayed in my mind longer than textbook dialogue. Another benefit of using social media was exposure to different accents and cultures. I got to hear English from people in the UK, US, Australia, India, and many other countries. This helped me understand that there isn't just one correct English. It opened my mind. I became more flexible and adaptable in conversations. I also became more confident in my own voice, knowing that it's okay to sound different. What matters is communication and understanding. Your journey to learning English doesn't need to begin in a classroom or with perfect grammar. It begins with a choice. A choice to show up every day, to listen, to speak, to make mistakes, and keep going. Social media isn't just a distraction. It can be your doorway to fluency, your global classroom, your daily practice partner. Let go of fear. Embrace your voice. And remember, real progress comes when you stop waiting to be perfect and start daring to be understood. Keep learning, keep speaking, and let the world hear your English.